So hey everybody, I'm Sherri Mraz, the owner and founder of the Wellness Cooking Academy, and tonight we are going to run through a cleanse detox class. So I have some coaches here in attendance because I want to just show you the preliminaries of how you set up a show. So I have this fancy bag, you have whatever bag you decide to use, but when you go to do a class, what are you going to give people? You're going to be giving them recipes, so you're going to give them pens so they could take notes. And because what is a cooking class? A cooking class is marketing. So make sure you have marketing material. So this is a postcard that I put inside every one of my books, but of course I also put them in material. When people leave, I usually give them a little gift bag, depends on what I have in my supplies, but make sure you put like your card or a postcard in there. Hey, I'll even give you a little gift. And and then, so this bag I bring with me every single one of my shows, because cooking class, I call it show cooking or cooking class, you call it what you want. But you don't want to get there and say, oh, I wish I brought my survey, or I wish I brought my email sign-up sheet. So I keep it on a clipboard. So I have that. I have a survey that I pass out at the end of class. And you guys have this. You have it in your done for you material. The other thing I do is, a lot of times I'll do a series of cooking classes on location. So then I'll give them like a folder that's empty. You put your sticker on there, and then I have it hole punched to the recipes. So they're going to take it and build up a recipe file. It makes them want to come back to class because they don't want to miss anything. And sometimes if you don't want to do a gift bag, you could do something like this. It's that's how to do healthy grocery shopping. So then you would give them maybe some tips. Okay. And if you're doing that, so you keep all of your supplies in your bag. This is a coupon for, you can give to like a hostess to say, oh, if you, because you're trying to get more cooking classes or your clients. So you could say it's $25 off of one of my services or $25 off of a cooking class. And then because this class is the cleanse class, I call it detox for years. But because, well, first of all, we're in Florida, and detox means other things very commonly in this area. So it's better to start calling it like a reset, a reboot, a cleanse. So, but because I wrote this so many years ago, it still all says detox, but it's left in Word. So change it to whatever you title it. So you're gonna, this is how I do it. And you choose how you want to do it. But the best way, what we're doing tonight is we're going to follow this outline. This is a coach's outline for doing a cleanse cooking class. You have that in your materials. So when you follow this outline, you're going to be showing them the foods that are in the detox packet. So I have a whole stack of them in that bag. So the object is for you to say, I would love if you'll do this detox with me. And we're going to start it next week. This is X amount of dollars. Average price, $49. So you say, you're going to buy this, and we're going to do it as a group. So hopefully you end up, the last girl who just, that I was coaching, she had 8 ladies in her class. All 8 signed up. Okay. So it's because they're seeing it, and you're talking about the benefits of it, it's pretty easy to say, you want this. Okay. All right, I don't know if you want to follow along with it. And, well, I was going to say you could come and help, but if you're camera shy, you probably want to stay over there. So the other thing, look, I have my hair pulled back. We're doing a cooking class. You know, it's totally, your hair isn't real long. If your hair isn't real long, but my hair is. Okay. And no one likes to see the hair, like, going down in front of by the food. So I don't do the net or anything. I mean, you could wear a baseball. I have a baseball cap that says Cooking Yogi. This says Cooking Yogi. You're trying to promote yourself. My boots on the ground is Cooking Yogi, not Wellness Cooking Academy. So you can wear a chef's coat. This is a cleanse class. We're not doing tons of cooking, so I'm not going to. You could do just a little apron. Okay. You guys decide what feels comfortable. I'm wearing a logo, so I'm just going to stay in a t-shirt. Okay. So I'm going to go over to the cooking station, and I guess I'll start it then. Okay. Okay. So I set up with cafeteria trays, okay. But I'm here cooking. Wherever you teach, you have a setup in the front, okay. And behind you, you want to have a work setup. Okay. So you want to have the recipes. Remember in the class, mise en place, everything in its place. So everything for each recipe is on a separate tray. Okay. Nicer trays can go. Now, say you have a whole audience that there's 20 people. Okay. So you're going to have, if you have 20 people, you might have 5 people at a table, 4 tables, okay? And then you put the ingredients that they're going to use and their own little cutting boards and stuff on the tables, okay. But you put, like, kind of dole out the ingredients that they're going to work with, okay. If it's hands-on, okay? So, because you got to have your stuff to demo. And the best way to do any class is to prepare as much as you can, okay. The day before or that day, and you fake. Like on TV, you know, they're like adding their ingredients. Well, they're not really adding their ingredients. They probably already made it. So you just kind of go along with it. Okay, so you have this outline you're going to run through. So the very first thing it says on here to make is the breakfast smoothie. Okay, and that's the first recipe in your packet. So I have to come over here to bring this tray over here.
Do you like that coconut water better?
I like this one a lot. Okay, so we're going to do our first recipe is the breakfast smoothie. Okay. Okay, so I'll let you be the audience, even though you're officially now a cooking instructor. Okay. So you're going to, here's the recipe. We're going to do 2 to 3 leaves of kale. Actually, I need to give that closer to you, sorry. Okay, so we're going to throw in the kale. You're going to throw that in your blender. And then it says a small cucumber. And this one isn't small, so you do the kale. I'll take care of this, okay? And I'm just going to take a little bit of this off. Everything is organic, okay? And I don't usually peel these, but we're going to do a little peeling. Okay, so you're going to throw that in. And I need a garbage bowl. We'll use the tray. So because it's a Vitamix, you don't even need to get rid of that rib. Okay. You could throw everything in there. Okay. Just throw it right in. Okay. And actually, I should have left the skin on because it's organic, but I didn't. Okay, and as a matter of fact, let's go for it. Throw the whole thing in there. And then we have a handful of parsley, which I just picked out of the garden. Even better. I do. I have a whole garden out there. And then it says a pear or apple. So we're going to use an apple. Okay. This is the only thing that you have to be really careful. You don't put your apple seeds in your smoothie. Do you know why?
She might choke.
Well, they're getting ground up in there. That thing is like an airplane motor.
Oh, yeah, you know what? Okay.
It's because they have cyanide.
Oh, okay.
We don't want that.
No.
Okay, a little bit. It's like everything we eat, there's always some kind of toxins, but we're doing a detox, so we want organic because we don't want to be, we're trying to get out, cleanse. We don't want to put any toxins in. So if you buy something that's not, you need something on here that you don't find organic, don't even bother with it. Just leave it out. Okay. So everything is organic. You find the best stores in your area that you can get it. I shopped at, where did I go today? Nutrition Smart. Not to advertise for them. They're up in Palm Beach Gardens. Every single one of their ingredient, their produce is organic. You don't have to pick through.
We should go with Greenwise, Public Greenwise.
That's great. So now 1 cup of coconut milk. or water, whatever. We're using coconut water. This one is flavored with pineapple. And we're also gonna put in a handful of berries. So when you're doing berries, you don't need to even pull the little stem off. Most of the nutrient in a berry is found right in the white part without, we all cut this out. Don't do that. Throw it all in there. And when you have a Vitamix, it's going in there. What's wrong with eating the stem? You won't taste it. Okay, so far we're up to the apple. You've got the water in, handful of berries. Just throw in what you like. You want to throw in a handful of berries. And then we're going to do coconut oil. Let me grab a spoon since we're doing right here on easy location. You're going to put a tablespoon of coconut oil. Why do we do coconut oil? Coconut oil is a fat, but it's a healthy fat. And when you're doing a cleanse, you're eating fruits and vegetables. It's going through your system really quickly. So it's flushing out your digestive tract. But a little bit of that healthy fat healthy fats they help with your hormone receptors. So by having that little bit of healthy fat, it's gonna really help you first of all, it's gonna help you satiate. You're not gonna be so starving. And then it gives the body that little bit of lubrication that is missing with just your fruits and vegetables. And then we're going to put in a teaspoon of cinnamon, just shake in. It doesn't need to be exact. This is already washed. We're also going to throw in just a couple of stalks of celery. Okay, now this is going on the Vitamix, and thank the Lord for this invention. Because look at how full this is. That's actually with all of our ingredients. Let's just pretend that's a cup.
Okay.
The thing about cooking and what you want to teach people when you're doing a class is not to get so freaked out. That's what people do. They go, oh, that was a teaspoon. You put a tablespoon. Just tell people that's not important. What's important is the ingredients. Follow it as a guide. Like a little GPS. It's a roadmap. It's just giving you some flavors, helping you with a flavor profile. But when you're doing something like this, you want a little more liquid because it's not going to, the motor's just gonna, and this little tamper is gonna help. Now we're on camera here, so this is gonna sound like I don't know what, a jet engine's going through the kitchen. So I'm gonna let you. Now on a Vitamix, this is set for smoothies. They're all different, but this one, do you have a Vitamix?
No, but I have to get one.
It's so great because you do nothing. Make sure your lid is on. That you do.
Okay.
Because otherwise it will be all over your cabinets. Gotcha. And I've seen that in class happen before. So when you turn this on, it starts slow.
Okay.
A regular blender, you start turning it up as it's blending. Otherwise, you're going to burn out your motor. So this will start slow. And then you use this, see how it's building up speed? But we have to get this down in there, so it's going to take a little. Okay, let's cut. No, I'm going to let you try to push that down, but I want to put ice in there. I forgot the ice. Silly.
You want me to wait until you put the ice?
Sorry, I hope you're going to be able to edit. Oh, I've got the ice over here. Silly me. No, there's no room.
Okay.
So, I might have put a little too much in there.
Oh, wait.
I think it lifted up.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
All right, let's put this back in.
Okay.
Hopefully we're not being taped. There it goes. All right, there it goes. All right, and it's gonna taste like mud unless we throw some
ice
and get it cold. You gotta be real careful about lifting it up.
Okay.
And it can lift itself up. Okay, that might be done. Okie doke. So now we will bring that back over. Am I going? Okay. Okay, so I pulled. Am I still okay? I got going on the cabinet. Okay, so we have our green smoothie. Now, again, this is a cleanse. So it's rather green. It's not for, maybe not everybody wants something that's so powerful. If you have somebody in your family really resistant, but they want to do this cleanse, or you yourself can't do it, what you'll do is maybe throw some stevia in here.
Okay.
Stevia is allowed on a cleanse because it's plant-based. It's a plant.
I got you.
So that is...
How many cups do you...
You do as much as you want.
Okay.
So now what's going to happen is you're doing a cleanse. You're eating, you're having a smoothie, you're having a salad, and you're having a soup. So it says to do that breakfast, lunch, dinner.
Okay.
You do what you want. If you want to have soup for lunch, you want to have soup for breakfast, it doesn't matter. The recipes are geared to help you flush out your digestive tract and your system. So do the recipes however you feel good. Some days I just ate soup, and this you can have as many times a day as you want. Okay, so I'm curious to see if you would need to put something in it. There you go. It's very green, and it's a little Kermit the Frog, but it's really great. So you put that in your fridge. You could put it in a big jar, whatever, and you drink that until it's gone, and then you make a new batch. Okay. So now what do we do? We want to keep our station. We're doing a cooking class.
Clean up.
So we want everything to go away that we're not using now. So that's important because you're cooking in front of people. So you always want to have your station clean. You keep a towel like hidden somewhere, and then you wipe everything off and you move on to the next. So we just did our breakfast smoothie.
And it was good.
It
was good.
So now supposing you don't want to do that, and you want a smoothie, but you don't want a green thing, or you're really sick of it, you've had it a couple of days. So you're trying to do more vegetables than fruit.
Okay.
And if you feel that you have any kind of candida issue, or people who have more severe, like if you have cancer, there's no fruit allowed, zero, because it feeds cancer cells. No sugar. Fruit is sugar. So if you're doing this cleanse and you've been struggling and you feel like you have an overgrowth of yeast or you have some kind of candida, cut out the fruit.
Okay.
Take out the berries, just do a green smoothie. And now, but if you want to like have something, a different flavor, you can do like your strawberries and bananas, but try to still add vegetables, sorry, your celeries, so you're bulking it up. And also think about it, your celery, tons of fiber. So that's another thing. Fiber doesn't digest by the body. Fiber is like, I like to say it's like scrub brushes. It has the effect of just pushing everything through. So that's important. So that's really the point of this whole thing. Now we're going to do one of the most favorite and requested salads of my cooking classes, and now your cooking classes. Because when you go out to a restaurant and you get a kale salad, most of the time they don't massage it. They don't give it any love. They're just putting their kale chopped up in a bowl, and it's got a lot of cellulose fibers. So you're chewing and everybody says, I don't really think I like kale. But once you do the massaging and you now typically in a cleanse, you're not doing salt, but we're doing Himalayan salt. Himalayan salt has like 84 minerals in it. So it's allowed.
Okay.
It doesn't say it in here, but you let your people know they can put a little. Okay. What it says in here is Bragg's liquid, because that gives the salt flavoring. And it's a very organic, it is made out of soy, but most soy sauce, people don't know this, most soy sauce is extracted with chemicals. So Bragg's is not. So it's fermented. So it's actually a very good thing to be adding to your body. If you're going to like yoga retreat centers or any healthy place, that's what's on the counter, that flavoring. So now if you're doing, we're gonna do our kale salad. We're going to do ours with Himalayan salt, because when you massage it with a little bit of olive oil, another healthy fat, and the Himalayan salt, it breaks down those cellulose fibers so that it gets soft. It almost looks like it's cooked. Okay, so we're gonna bring our tray over for, thank you. Oh, she's already a wonderful assistant. So clearly I use tons of olive oil. I really don't use anything else but olive oil and coconut oil. I don't ever use canola oil, soybean oil, any of those. Soy, obviously, we don't do it because it's genetically modified. Your body will recognize material like that as a toxin. And so it's going to start to reject it. And what happens when your body rejects something? It starts causing inflammation. So think about, like, if I hit my finger, it's gonna swell up. Inflammation is a great thing in a situation like that, because the fluid is starting to heal the part of your body that's injured. But when that happens repeatedly every day and you have inflammation building up in your body, you are now getting diseased. So we want to avoid inflammation, and we're trying all of this. When you're eating plant-based, you're making your blood alkaline. And alkaline blood, disease can't live in alkaline blood. It thrives in acidic blood. So we're trying to also, with a cleanse like this, we're changing the pH of our blood so that we're not just flushing out our digestive system, but now what we're doing with changing the pH is we're putting a halt on any disease that's trying to take a stronghold. So, and because it also builds awareness. You're building all this awareness. Your taste buds come back to life. And now you taste food again. You know, there's more chemists on staff in fast food restaurants than chefs. That's true. And they put additives to make you addicted to the food. So that's really important. So what are we gonna do? We have our tray, just like we did before. Now, but for this one, you are going to want to take out the rib. So I washed everything ahead of time. When you go on location to teach, always wash everything so that because you don't know if you're going to have a sink next to you. So it's easy to just have everything done. Berries are washed, even strawberries, which I never wash before until I eat them, but you have to. So do you want me to do the honors of de-ribbing, or do you want to? Okay. So you can either, we'll switch sides. You can either cut the rib out and, like, remember we did the chiffonade in class? Yes. So I can grab a little cutting board and we could do this. So you see how I have the extra cutting boards as well. You want to, these are wooden, obviously. These are heavy, okay? So if you're going on location, be really careful about having, like, what if you have 20 people in your class? When you carry 20 of these, you're carrying, it's like, oh my gosh. So what I do is I use these mats. So you have the little flexible mats, and put those out for your people, because now it's really light for you, and it's just easier. So you're either gonna you have a choice. You're either gonna tear it off, or we talked about, like, chiffonade. That would be when you kind of roll it up. and then you can.
Which one do you prefer?
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
So you're either gonna do that where you like roll it up like a cigar, and start cutting, or you tear.
I'm gonna tear.
But what you're gonna do is, as the instructor.
Okay.
As the instructor, you want to demonstrate both options,
Okay.
and then each table has their little bit of kale, and you tell people to bring their own chef knives.
Gotcha. Okay.
Bring a couple extra because they forget.
Just in case they forget. Okay.
But then that's a skill. Now you're teaching them a cutting, you're talking to them about tearing it up. And if you let them do it at the table, it's so much less work for you. If you're doing it as a demo class, then you just make one bowl and just have a volunteer come up and to do the massaging. You ask for a massage person. They like humor. And you say, is there any massage therapist in the house? Because this kale really needs a massage. Okay, and since I use so much olive oil, look, I even have a fancy, it's like a little wine stopper. This sits there, I use it for everything. I don't know if this is legit, like if I would be fired off a Chopped, but I actually bake with olive oil.
I do too.
I bake with it because it doesn't really matter. It doesn't. Sometimes I'll do half olive oil, half applesauce, to just kind of lighten it up a little. But I never use any of the other, vegetable or corn oil or any of that stuff. So, okay, so we're just gonna do a little drizzle on here. And I know you went already to the sink, so if you have any people helping you, make sure that they wash their hands.
Yes.
And this is not because of anything other than it would hurt. Do you have any like paper cuts or anything?
No.
Okay, because if you start doing the massaging and you do, it will burn.
Okay.
All right, so we're just gonna put a little bit of the Himalayan salt. And I don't know, we might need more, but start with less. Always start with less.
Okay.
And then,
You want me to do a
yeah, have you done the massage before?
No, usually, you know what, I cook my kale and make my salad.
Okay.
So.
But you don't need to. So what you're gonna start to notice is it's gonna start to change color.
Okay.
And once it starts to, now, just so you know also, because you're going to be running your class, what did I do? Because like Rachel Ray has a garbage bowl. So you don't have to do that. You have these trays. So I used to have the garbage bowl, but what do we need a garbage bowl sitting there and having people watch? So just as you're going, just keep putting even your garbage, your stuff that you're done with, put it back on your tray, because then you do the easy swap out. Okay. So, and always have your little towel. Sometimes if you are wearing an apron, you can put your towel, like hook it here or, off your waistband. Some people just wipe right on their apron. But
that's me. I'm probably just wiping.
That's okay, but you wouldn't be able to, like, unless you're going like this, you probably want the towel. Okay. All right, so we're gonna add to this one, we're gonna put a little bit of apple in this one, okay? So when you're, I leave the skin on because again, it's organic. And people like with diabetes, the compound in the skin actually is good for them. Okay. So because a lot of fruit isn't good for type 2 diabetic because again, it's sugar. But apple a day keeps the doctor away. You definitely want to.
Over-massaging the kale?
You can't over-massage it. And here's the thing about this salad that I love more than anything. When you have a salad in your fridge that, a leftover, and you want to take it to work or eat it the next day, it's all mushy, and this gets better with age. It's just like women, we get better with age, yes.
Fine wine.
Fine wine. A stone, did you ever cook on one of those stone, like the stoneware where you make your cookies or something on it?
No.
So yeah, my daughter just got engaged, so that's what I gave her for an engagement present because I said it gets better with age, and so should your relationship. We should all be like a stone. Okay, so we have some chopped up apple. So do you see how this changed color?
Yes.
I mean, that's a big difference. And you'll probably want to wash your hands, won't you?
Yes. Let me wash it.
But yeah, so it definitely feels massaged. That's a plus. And so we are going to make a dressing. Cutting over here. Oh yeah, it's turned off again. In front of it. Yeah, there you go. Okay, so. All right, so we have our kale massaged, and now we're gonna start adding some apple chunks, because we're making this more of a sweet salad. You can make this kale salad savory. By making it savory, meaning, you know, it's not sweet, you are going to put like tomatoes, maybe, and onions, change it up. You want a different, you're eating the same things for 3 days. You want to change up your flavor profile. Why do I like the sweet one? Have you ever had Indian food where there's a chutney, spicy, sour, like all these different tastes? So in Ayurvedic medicine, there's the different tastes on your tongue. Bitter, sweet, sour, salty. If you cover all of those tastes at every meal, you won't have cravings. So that's why if we can make our salad sweet, but we're covering everything kind of here. We're not putting spicy in this one. You could put something spicy. But so we put a little bit of the apple. Maybe we'll put a little more. I love this apparatus. You can get these anywhere. This one happens to be Pampered Chef, another plug for a company. So we're gonna just drizzle the lemon on there. So that's it. That's our dressing. Whoa, that's good luck, I think. I don't know. I don't know. I just made it up. So we have our recipe: kale, olive oil, lemon, apple, and we're going to throw in a little handful of berries. We could actually use some of our strawberries. Let's reuse these. And we have these beautiful little oranges. If you want, you could throw those in. Or we just throw in a little bit of strawberry. Because the other thing is, what is the first thing that makes someone want to eat something?
The strawberries, the fruits.
Well, it's pretty, right?
Yes,
people eat with their eyes first. So if you start adding color to your food, it's going to make it, it's just so much more appetizing. You know, when people are hooked on junk food, they crave like, that's a yucky piece, they crave like salt, and not that we don't sometimes crave salt or sweet, but when you might want something that's really heavily seasoned.
Yes.
You know, chips, barbecue, whatever, because your tongue is used to really strong taste. Once you do a detox or a cleanse, or just eat natural food, whole foods, your tongue taste buds start to come back to life. And when they come back to life, you taste food again. So when you taste real food and you go in the grocery store, you see the produce department, you're like, oh, your brain like activates, you know, you just want to, maybe I'll make eggplant, because you're alive. But when you're eating dead food that's been sitting on a shelf, it's really processed, you maybe don't get that same craving for color. Eat color, it brings your taste buds back to life. Okay, so we have our salad, and that's basically it. So let's do a real quick, I'm going to grab this real quick, because what is going to be something that your audience is going to want? They're going to want color, and they're going, you want it to be pretty. So you also want them to, you want it to look pretty on the plate. So now if they're making it themselves, so we talked about getting plates really inexpensive. You can get them at dollar store, Walmart. But I usually, depending on your class, what if you're in a venue that's like a clubhouse and it's really a nice setup. You're gonna wanna do something like this. And then you get this from like a restaurant supply. You buy a case of them, it's not expensive when you buy in bulk. So that's when, because if you're doing something and you're gonna have, maybe you're gonna have a camera, then you want your food to look nice and you try to make sure that you're plating it with like the color up. And so, because when you hand someone this compared to the little Walmart plate, it's just a crazy thing how the mind doesn't think it's gonna taste as good. Even when you do the soups and you do like the paper bowls, just not as appetizing as if you can, and you can get them at the dollar store. This probably came from there, little like crystal looking bowls. So that definitely, okay, so we're done with another one. You guys are gonna have to eat this. All right, so we're gonna make our soup, and let me get this off of there because I'm gonna get that all ruined. Okay, so now we're going to make our healing detox soup. This is adapted from Dr. Joel Fuhrman. He calls it a potassium-based soup. And so I just doctored it up a little bit, kind of blended a bunch of soups together just for flavor. So when we do this soup, obviously, when we're on location, we need a cooktop. So this little cooktop is about maybe $30 average, depending on where you get it. So it's run by butane. You put your little canister in there. And sometimes people get a little scared of these. So it's easy. Click it all the way, just like at a grill outside. And then you're gonna turn it down. And that's it, simple. Okay, so we're gonna start by sauteing. There's our recipe. We're gonna saute carrots, celery, leeks, green beans. I didn't get green beans today because green beans are not in season, and they said there was a lot of like flooding in California and they didn't even have them. So you go with what is local, organic, what the store has available. This is a vegetable soup. Put vegetables in it. So don't get freaked out if there's not something you can't get an ingredient. So let's start with, I don't want to put that on there yet. I just wanted it on because we want to put some of the carrots and we're going to go in order. So we're going to do carrots. I'll let you come over here. And you want to go there or you want me to move this up? Okay.
Doesn't matter. Wherever you want me out.
Okay, we'll do this. So we're gonna, yeah, okay.
Okay.
So we're going to cut together, okay? We're gonna do teamwork. And just don't let me put that paper over there yet, okay? Because that'll catch on fire. So I'll start with the carrot. You can start with some celery. Do we have it? Or you start with the green onion, okay? All right, so clearly we're chopping. It doesn't need to be perfect, okay? But the more uniform your pieces, they all come out at the same time. So when you're doing something like zucchini, it's soft. You can cut that bigger. So just to keep it so that it doesn't roll around on your cutting board, cut your carrot in half. Put the flat side down so you're not rolling around and cutting your fingers off. Claw method. You keep your fingers back. Fulcrum, it's called. That's a rocking. You let your knife do the work. You keep your fingers back so you don't lose any. Fingers in the soup is not ideal. So that is a big carrot, isn't it? So we're just gonna rough chop. If you want smaller pieces, just go down the middle. Okay, so we're gonna throw a couple of carrots in here. And we have our amazing assistant over here. That is your audience, whoever. You bring volunteers or people are doing it at their table. Oh yeah, we have another one. So we're gonna just put that aside and then we'll scrape it in. But let's just chop up the zucchini as well. So this really is just everything in one pot. So when you're doing a cleanse, you want to have some of these recipes done ahead of time because you're going to be hungry. You come in, you don't want to be fumbling around and making a soup right when you want to eat. So make it ahead of time, eat it for the 3 days. If you're starting to run out, make it again. In this packet is a carrot ginger soup also. That is just carrots and ginger mostly. There's a few other onions, but that also is it's pureed, it's got the spice, it's a different flavor profile, so you're not getting sick of eating the same thing every day. So you can cook this up in the cooktop, your stove at home, or you're going to throw it in a crock pot. Actually, a crock pot is a great thing to use for your food because it's cooking at low temperature. Okay. And ideally, once you start going over like 110, 115 degrees, you're starting to lose some of the nutrients in your food. So think about that when you're cooking. Try to cook low and slow. Oop, that one got away. And too bad, like any animals that would come through here, dogs, cats, they don't like that stuff. Okay, so we're gonna put a little bit of olive oil. You measure if you want to. That's not in my blood. Measuring doesn't happen. And okay, so we have some onions and we have some zucchini. And the recipe says leeks. Could I find leeks today? No. I didn't find leeks. So what do I have? I have green onion. Doesn't really matter. And I brought some Swiss chard, which is not on there, but it looked so amazing and it's organic and it's just so beautiful that we're going to cut up a little bit and look at the color. So let's cut up a couple of these, but we'll do these chiffonade. Remember, you roll them like a cigar and slice them nice and thin, and those can go in our soup. And we're going to throw a little bit of herbs in there. We may as well throw the rest of these onions in. May as well. And the only thing, like when you have your vegetables, does this have any living energy in it? That's dead. So you take that off. Think about when you're eating, think about what you're eating. You want to buy vegetables as fresh as you can. If you get more hung up on organic and you go to the store and you're buying things that are all soggy and look old, that's not giving you living energy. We're eating for energy. So always try to think about that. Buy the freshest looking food. If something, like I said, you're trying to stay organic and it looks old, don't buy it. Okay, go ahead. You can throw it all in. This is a one-pot wonder. Everything just gets thrown in there. So it said green beans on the recipe. I told you they didn't have green beans. So what am I going to throw in here? This is going to end up like a gumbo. We're going to use okra. I love okra. Do you love okra? A lot of people don't like it because they don't like that squishiness. I love it. I loved it so much when I was a kid. I ate everybody's leftovers. That wasn't a pretty night though. That didn't. You can overdo it, apparently, I learned. That's with anything, right? You can overdo it. You know, if you eat kale every single day, it will actually start hurting you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can have too much of a good thing. And you want to always eat a variety. There's a reason why fruits have all different colors. They all have different vitamins and minerals. So you really want to try to stick with the varieties. And if you want to eat greens every day, then make sure you're doing spinach, then kale, then Swiss chard. Don't do the same thing all the time. Hey, let's throw it all in there. You're trying to be all nice and neat, and I'm just throwing it in. Throw it all in. Because when this cooks up, it almost is like it's like celery. All right, let me grab a spoon. And all right, so let's read our what we need. We could throw that other zucchini in, because we're making a huge pot of this. And okay, so tomatoes. We can use just little cherry tomatoes. Just cut them in half, throw them in. You want to
You want me to cut them or you want to cut them?
well, okay, I'll go for it.
Okay.
Or do you want to do it and I do the garlic? Are you garlic or a tomato person?
I'll do tomato.
All right. And so garlic, easy. People don't always realize they're fighting with their garlic. And unless you're watching cooking shows, you might not realize that the skin comes off really easily if you put a little pressure on it. Or, you know, you have had your teenager came in and you just have that moment, then you just pretend. And that's how you pop the skin off, super easy. And I use the same cutting board all the time. I know people have different cutting boards. I'm vegetarian, so I don't have chicken or any of these meat animal proteins on my cutting board. You would never want to do that on your wood cutting board and then be using that. So when you are doing your garlic, I always stick, this is just my thing, I stick to the right-hand side corner of my cutting board because there have been times where somebody used my cutting board and they cut up cantaloupe or something and they said, kind of tastes a little garlicky, don't you think? Because they don't know, you got to stay off of this side. Otherwise, you use those little mats and you change them out. Use them for different flavors, different. You know another trick, and no one knows this, you take the garlic and you put it in a plastic bowl with a lid on it and you shake it. You know, like those shaker things that you buy for exercise? If you shake it long enough, all the skin comes off in the bowl. I'm sure when you buy it at the store and it's already minced up, that's probably what they've done. They probably used some machine to knock it around a little so that it would pop off. And we're going to put a lot of garlic in there. You like garlic? I love garlic. I love it so much. And in that smoothie, we talked about that when we took a little break for a minute. If you throw garlic in it, raw garlic is so antibacterial for your body. And it's such a great thing to add to your system. But yeah, you feel like you're eating raw garlic and you don't really want it. It comes out of your pores, and got to eat a lemon too. All right, so we're sauteing everything nice and loud. And why do we saute before we put it in our water and stuff? It kind of bleeds out the flavor. So you always want to do that. Your onions, your garlic, you never burn your garlic. You want to just do it real quick. As soon as you smell it, it's usually done. That's how fast it is. So we're going to just get this kind of, like I said, bleeding out. Terrible. Like I hurt the vegetables. They're bleeding, but they're bleeding out their flavors. And then now you hear they're starting to slow down cooking also. I didn't even run out of gas. They're just getting more juice. And so the water is slowing down the cooking. So we are going to add a little bit of seasoning. Okay. On the recipe, it says dried spices, oregano, thyme, rosemary, whatever you like. This Italian seasoning, organic, has a whole bunch of mix in here. It's got its basil, oregano, marjoram, I can't say it, sage, and garlic. So it's just for a little extra flavor. Because what are you going to do on a detox, cleanse? You're not putting a lot of other flavoring. Gotcha. Okay, so this is all we're going to do. Now, if we were not on a cleanse, you might add a flavoring. I always use vegetable base. Okay. This one you can get anywhere, better than bouillon. It's not the perfect one because one of the ingredients is there's soybeans in it and maltodextrin. Maltodextrin is sugar. So it's not ideal, but it doesn't have MSG,
Okay.
and it's way better than any of the other flavorings that you would get. MSG is the devil.
Oh yeah.
It gives you migraines. It's poison.
Question, I'm a spice girl.
Yeah.
If I want a little bit of,
Red hot pepper and stuff.
Can I add that?
Do it.
Okay.
Yes. Cayenne pepper is really cleansing
yes.
to the body, so throw
I
in the
love
pepper.
cayenne pepper.
Definitely do it.
Okay.
Now this one I just want to show you is called Vogue. This is a powder.
Okay.
And there is nothing in here. It's non-GMO. It's organic. It does have soy grits, it says, but it's organic. Potato, flour, pea, onion, carrot, alfalfa, onion, turmeric, celery seed, parsley, spinach, kale, white pepper. There's really there's no sugar and there's nothing bad in this.
Okay.
So this one, you need to go to a health food store.
Okay.
Or get it on Amazon. I got this at that Nutrition Smart when I bought it. And the other great thing, like you got to put that in the refrigerator. This is because it's powder. It doesn't, oh gosh, there's a lot of barriers here. It's powder. So you're going to add, a teaspoon at a time, and you're never going to run out of flavoring. And you can get even a great big one. And so you're going to have this and just add little teaspoons and flavor it as you go. So this will always be in your cabinet ready to go. But you noticed I didn't do that today because we're doing a cleanse and there still is the soy, the potato starch. We're not doing that. So this is ready for water. So our recipe says 5 to 6 cups. Let's see if we can pretend we have a measuring cup. We have one, but so, and why am I using this water? Because it's filtered, purified water. We're doing a cleanse again, so we want to make sure that we're using either purified. There's a lot of different schools of thought on water. I studied at Hippocrates Health Institute, and that their theory is distilled, because they feel like the distillation process eliminates everything.
Okay.
But I like this purified water, and if you have a water system or something, great.
Okay.
Now here's the thing with soup.
It smells good.
It is going to be so delicious. Did we forget anything? I'm known for that. I need recipe police around me all the time to make sure that I didn't. Oh, let's throw in our herbs. So we'll chop these up real quick. So one of the things, and this came right out of my garden, and for soup you can even use the stems and all. Why not? So the herbs really give a nice bright flavor. So here's the thing with a soup. You're going to go to do your class. You're going to demo this soup. Ideally, if you have one made already, and you bring it with you in a container. I use my crock pot for that.
Okay.
Because when you get to a cooking class and behind the scenes, you have your crock pot plugged in, you can demo this.
Okay.
And now you have dinner for your family for the next 3 nights.
That's a good idea.
And if you're not on a cleanse and you want to put a pop of flavor in there, go ahead and do it. But you're demoing it, and this is going to take a while to cook. And soups taste better after the flavors marry. So it's easier to have one made and bring it with you. And like I said, the crock pot makes it so you're not trying to fight with demoing and then heating up a soup. You have it plugged in the back and you can just dish it out, easy. So that about sums up our detox soup. This gets a lid on it and it just sits here for the next half hour or so. Something that a lot of people don't realize is you can take, and I do this, I actually have jars of it in my freezer. You can take all of these scraps. Now I have a garden going, so right now scraps are going in there. But if I don't have the garden going, all of this, there is even these peels, you put them in a Ziploc bag, and when the Ziploc, and you keep putting it in the freezer. And when it's full, throw it in a pot, and to get the flavor extracted, you need about a half an hour. You leave it on simmer for half an hour. It's just scraps. You strain them out. Now you have vegetable broth. And you don't have to go and buy it at the grocery store. It's scraps you would have thrown away. The only thing I don't mix is if I'm doing something, you know, if I had jalapeno, you could because you like spice. But, or if you have, you know, lemon peels or something, you wouldn't want to put that. But absolutely, then it's free and it's super healthy and all your stuff is organic. So it's better than the broth you're going to buy at the store. So I think that about, do you have any questions?
No, you did a great job.
Oh, I'm glad. And thank you for being here and thank you for
having me.
Yeah, and okay. All right. Ow. Okay, so thank you for joining us to watch how to teach cooking classes. I think it's so much easier than you think. So now that you've seen how to do it and walked through, what's the number one most important thing? If you noticed, what did I do throughout the recipes? I talked about the benefits of the food. Be really clear why a person, what differentiates you from every other cooking class? It's health benefits. You're trying to build up a coaching practice. People are going to want to hire you if they know that you're an expert in health. So make sure you talk up benefits, talk about what's in it for them, what they're going to gain by taking your cooking classes, by working with you. Now, I was talking about coaches because this is for you guys to learn how to start to finish do a class. But more importantly for you is that you make sure you're talking about some testimonials. When I worked with Mary, she lost weight when she did this recipe. Just keep talking about when I work with my clients, and so they have an idea of where you're going. At the end of your class, you invite them to something. Invite them to your upcoming next cooking class or your program, your 30-day challenge. Always have something in mind before you get there, what you're inviting them to. So I invited you today into my kitchen, and I'm inviting you to check out the Wellness Cooking Academy, wellnesscookingacademy.com. We have live classes where you can participate on video. It's a live virtual classroom. You can do that. We do that 3 times a year, or else you can do the self-study course, jump in at any time. So I hope to see you, and again, thank you for being here.